Okay, gentlemen. So we are here in the final phase of this long day, fruitful day. Trying to have some more insight from your presentation, and that could be helpful for Fortissimo for the future, and to develop something that could be helpful for you, first of all. So I will start with a general question. Not to think now, at least specific from cloud. So you all represent small ISV, apart from George, who is an intruder. That represents a Fortissimo point of view. Let's say, as a small ISV, when it's compared with a world of big, you said that in CFD, partly 5% of the ISV has partly larger amount of the market. The market is dominated by a very small number of players. So, in fact, for a small ISV, what is the biggest challenge? So it's to reach new users, new customers, marketing, the user support, to build services that are the same level or better than the big ISV. And in that sense, our marketplace in general, marketplace may provide you some help on your biggest challenge.
Okay, who is going to start?
Alphabetical order.
Okay, I start. Okay, my point is a little bit specific with respect to this, because we are a very small company, but we started as a partner of a very large one. So in the first period of our life, it was all about a partnership with ANSYS. So this is good and bad at the same time, let me say, because of course, being linked to a large company make your life easy. It's very straightforward to go ahead. But of course, we have decided also to invest on our internal growth. So we come out with the standalone version of the software that is growing thanks to European fundings. So, for instance, the RBF for Ario project helped us a lot to grow up. So I think that on a perspective of our own business, Fortissimo could help a lot, because the difficulty that you find if you are small is, for instance, to create, let's say, it's not just a technical issue. So I think that the marketplace so have a very well-defined way to create marketing messages, container for your service. So to promote market replication is, I think, one of the best results that we can get. You know, as ISV, when you have a technology, the larger is your user, the larger will be your business, and the cost will not grow proportionally. So I think on this perspective, this is really excellent. And this is not on a technical point of view. As far as the technical point of view, of course, if you are, okay, the icon example, it's really interesting because they have the capability to set up something on the cloud on their own. For us, it would be, for instance, we are too small to invest in something similar. So the Fortissimo platform could be the option to have also the technical enabling of this. I think this more or less is my position.
There's also for your interesting point the fact that European fundings, at least there are real help for industries, at least in your case.
You know, it's a very good way to grow. in the RBF for Aereo project, we had a great opportunity. We got something in our hands that worked very well. But to involve aeronautical companies and grow up, if you are a very small reality, it's very difficult. So building this network, also the awareness of the technology growing up. So it's really an excellent opportunity to grow.
Yeah, it is an opportunity. I think the European funding in this case helps smaller ISVs to have access to huge HPC. For example, with the experiment we've done with Koenigsegg, there's no way that they could have accessed as many core hours on their hypercar, and it allows us then to focus on efficiency of our process on these kinds of mega scale HPC facilities. And once we have the best practices and the whole process from an end to end for one user ready, then we can potentially deploy it. So I think Fortissimo can help as an enabler for that, and also for the smaller companies, the smaller manufacturers to test it and to see what the benefit will be without spending a huge amount. And once they're hooked, then potentially they will have a budget for this kind of simulation because they see the benefit directly on their products.
For small ISVs such as SCM, I think the biggest challenge is how to distribute or assign resources in a strategical way. I mean, we are very limited, of course, so it's hard to decide whether you want to go, you want to become like a full one-stop shop for modelers, which could be a nice vector for growth, but it's maybe unrealistic, or you want to become a niche player in your nice area, but it's also a bit risky if the market moves on, or we want to dabble with contract research as opposed to just developing. So I think this kind of European funding is good because it allows you some flexibility. You can test new business models. You can develop these kind of technologies we talked before for this HPC computing setups. So I think it is indeed essential to have that kind of public support.
So I want first of all to encourage you to participate in the discussion. So if you want to comment the answer of our panelists or new questions, please go ahead.
I think that so I partially agree with Marco because we come from a big entity that is the Politecnico di Milano, and in particular the mathematics department. But we are a real company. I mean, we are not funded by the Politecnico, and we are not funded by institutions. We are funded with our projects and and the contracts we take with our customers. So we are a small reality. We are SME, 17 people, as I told you before, and almost all of us are concentrated on undertake the project and take the project to the end. So we have great problems in finding resources to develop R&D internal projects that may hopefully lead to a more important growth. Thus, we do have some R&D projects. Mathesia is one of that. The one on the volleyball I showed you before is has a sort of internal contribution. We have another one on no profit that is going to be sold to no profit organizations. And so we have R&D projects, but the opportunity given by the EC fundings in this case can give a great push to us to take one of our projects and bring it to an upper level of business efficiency. So thanks to this opportunity that is the Fortissimo project, at first we can develop this tool and this software to make it accessible by a wider range of users, and so to enhance its capability of generate business. And later on, the Fortissimo marketplace will then allow us to, will help us actually to maintain the capability of acquire new users. Thanks to the infrastructures it is going to prepare for us and for the other SMEs that can participate to these projects. We had occasion the last last years to participate in other AC funded projects on biomedical matters, and it allow us to prepare something that can be then developed with other kind of projects. So the utility of this kind of fundings is very, in my opinion, is very strong for pushing the SMEs business.
Well, you see, since our companies are quite similar, my answer would be quite similar, but I would like to add a couple of points. So, for sure, for us, the potential impact of Fortissimo as a project is on the sustainability of the development, exactly as Matteo said. And you see, the sustainability of our development. In order, I mean, we have to develop in order to go to the market and deploy the software. In a context like Fortissimo, this development is much less, because you have to develop for one specific platform, and you deploy to everyone just this platform. You don't have to maintain a lot of platforms, a lot of different user scenarios. Everything is very well fixed, and this helps us actually a lot. Of course, within such a project, there are other factors of sustainability, which is marketing, the visibility of the developments and things like that. Regarding to the, let's say, to the fact that it is an EC-funded project, you see, when funding comes concrete, of course, it is a big help. There is, to our opinion, a big problem. One, I mean, everyone knows it, due to the administrative overhead in preparing these projects. And so it is very difficult to include such initiatives in a strategic development plan, because you don't know. So, in fact, what happens is that we have, for example, development plans which cover, let's say, more or less 2 and 3 years. And sometimes these kind of opportunities pop up. And we have to change a little bit everything to adapt to this specific opportunity. Yeah, this is more or less our, let's say, how the project impacts.
George?
Yeah, I have one comment, which is even at the proposal stage of Fortissimo, our focus was on end-user SMEs and the barriers that end-user SMEs faced in adopting simulation modeling on high-performance compute. And essentially, we're looking at the constraints that those SMEs have, i.e. resource constraints. You know, the cost of software licenses, the cost of adopting HPC, the cost of maintaining HPC, the cost of acquiring know-how. And we looked at, okay, how can we help them over that initial barrier? But essentially what I'm hearing from our ISV colleagues at the table here is they're also SMEs with the same resource constraints. Yeah. So in essence, you know, we need to, and I think we have, but I think we need to focus. So I think our kind of thinking was, okay, how can we enable the mainstream or enable simulation modeling on HPC to be adopted by the mainstream SME market, and we were focusing on the big ISV players like Ansys and CD, Adapco, and so on. But really, what we should be looking at, what we need to be focusing on, is how can we make that linkage, but make that linkage between the end user and also the SME ISV provider, who is also resource constrained, and in the way the marketplace can reduce the costs of, or operating costs of, the small ISV.
Yeah, well, I mean, I see that you all are positive about the Fortissimo project, at least. Yeah? So that was a big applause to the European Commission, and we'll be happy about that. Let us maybe go a bit around and ask, what about the marketplace? Is the Fortissimo marketplace that we envision, and there were a couple of presentations about the marketplace today, is that something that can be of help? And what I see, there is at least partial say, yes, we need this because we need support for the billing, we need support for the accounting, for going public somehow. I'm not sure if marketing is something that actually the marketplace will take up. So is this something that is totally just for the small and medium ISVs? Or do you think that also bigger ISVs could make use out of that? I see, for instance, ICON as a more medium ISV, let's put it that way, is already looking into this and is able to fund development in that direction and thinking about what could we do to support this, this move to the cloud.
Well, we see, if I may, we see this kind of pattern both in terms of the Fortissimo kind of marketplace, but also even at the HPC level, with the HPC providers developing themselves kind of interfaces for their HPC facilities and inviting various ISVs to kind of use their front ends. And in most cases, whether it be the marketplace or those front ends which are more for in-house clouds rather than public clouds, it's all through kind of a browser. So you can't customize it that much. And I think that's where potentially the Fortissimo marketplace could make a difference, is to allow that level of customization of the marketplace. And I was saying earlier during the lunch discussion, I think, about a few websites which allow that kind of customization, which allow direct access through various APIs to the databases behind, to the functions, to the methods that allow to, for example, submitting jobs or looking at the costing. And some of these interfaces are, for example, provided by Amazon. Or by Google themselves, or even smaller apps online like Trello. So I think if the marketplace, the Fortissimo marketplace, is built with that aspect of integration and customization in mind for ISVs, then it could be attractive. What an ISV doesn't want to lose is its branding and its unique relationship with its customers. So that's a key issue. If you have an app on the marketplace for, I don't know, a pipe flow optimization, and tomorrow someone else comes up with an app which follows exactly the same front end because it's in the marketplace for pipe optimization, and it's, I don't know, 1 cent cheaper per core hour, and proven to give the same kind of quality results, then, why would one choose the first one rather than the second one? So you basically get away from that whole trust and relationship and customer support. So the customization, the customer support, that can't be really taken away from the consultants and the ISVs.
So would you say that the marketplace should not be a portal where, say, there's a unified access and everybody can go there and setting up their simulations with certain tools that are offered through the marketplace, but rather should be a toolbox that can be used by ISVs to build up such a cloud service that underneath uses modules like accounting, billing, and so on and so forth.
If that had been the case, and if that were available, we would definitely use it. Now, I'm not saying we won't use the current alternative, but if there was a toolbox which could become potentially a standard to interact with HPC and with HPC facilities, then I think that would be a huge value.
So what does the other ISVs think about this? Of course, this will imply more work on your side, development.
For sure. But I think that it could be very important features, because for those who have the capability of building by themselves all the tools and workflows and support softwares to perform simulation on HPC, this kind of library or high-level languages, to develop such tools can be a great opportunity. But on the other hand, if it is limited to this, I think that you for sure exclude those users who instead are not so experts on programming, even on simulations. This was a theme that has emerged already sometimes during these days, but I think such a marketplace can be spread to the most wider range of users, so including those who approach the simulation for the first times, and then once they learn the basic properties, that is how to use some prepared workflows, so they can go on and use them forever if they see that is simpler. So for sure the tool is very important and useful, but I think the Fortissimo marketplace should not be limited to that.
I would also comment on this about this, let's say, this fear that if we had a common portal on the Fortissimo where the end users could connect, rather than the scenario which you depicted. I'm afraid that also the second scenario, where the ISV just uses underlying technology which was developed within Fortissimo, would be an insufficient barrier in order to guarantee, you see, customer, the fidelization of the customer. I think when we talk about software as a service, there's a risk related to this model. And I think we have to run into this risk. And this risk is that what we do today, the functionality which we provide today may be offered by someone else, and it is difficult to protect the investment that you did in coming up with this functionality.
I want to add something about this. Indeed, okay, the pay-per-use, it's an option, the cloud service is an option, but we can also think to this as a path. This could be the gateway to acquire new customers, because even delivering a demo to a customer comes with a very high cost, because the customer has to use hours to install, to put everything working. So just having the solution available on the cloud, so I give you just a password and you can try, as a marketing message, as a way to sell the technology, is really a great value. We have to think just to this point. As far as the RBF for Areo, that is work like this, so you can do remote access and then everything working. This is not deployed right now, but one of the big potential that we envision is that you haven't the burden of all the IT issue, especially if the technology is very complex. It's not usually, okay, usually it can be straightforward, but there are many situations in which they deploy at the site because you have IT issue, because if it's a big company, they haven't ICT access to certain situations. So this is not true only for the small enterprises customers. This could be a good way to expose the technology, especially for small ISV that are growing. This could be a very good way to present the technology in a very reliable way. You know, if you are on the cloud, whatever is the access, if it works, it works. So it's guaranteed. And I think that this is something that as an ISV, especially for the small one, of course for a large ISV this is not an issue. They have resources to do this. So this is another point that has to be considered. And what we envision with the Fortissimo is, okay, you could be scared about not have the full fee of the license as a standard customer, but you can also see these as a way to acquire new. The pool is very large, so you can go for new customers. And the Fortissimo way, what we envision, we are at the beginning, at least ongoing in our experiment. So as far as the cloud, we are still arranging the technical stuff. But as far as a business model, we envision that the entry customer, so let's say one that never used the technology, can acquire everything as a service, but it's different as to buy the result. You buy the service, but you can see what's going on, what is inside. So it's a good way to migrate. So you can use this also a tool to train an entering user to become an expert user. And maybe later that they hear, that they are coming here, they decide to buy the technology and to put in-house. So this could be thought also as a way to introduce technology, I think so. For us, on our perspective.
So it would be some kind of test demo box, yeah?
Not just testing, it's okay also to provide it. But you know, when you start, if you invest in a technology, you have to invest money and time. So if you shorten the time for demo, it's better. If you start with an application paying just on a per use, it's okay. And then maybe that you can decide to go further. So in this perspective, we have not to be limited just to a small enterprise. This could be good even for a large enterprise. I think so.
What do you think about beta testing? Could that be interesting to set out beta versions of applications on the cloud offering, so find users that are interested in testing them? No?
I think if you have an open development environment, if you're doing open source, then yes. Otherwise, I don't believe so. No. Because if you have a beta version, generally you don't come up with all the documentation for the beta version, the test cases, the tutorials. The support material is very limited because you have the core team working on it. And in my opinion, it's a little bit.
But usually the beta version is not addressed to unaware users. Normally it's tested by users that know the code.
Yeah.
I think about this, that for a big ISV, beta testing, it's okay. It's mandatory because you have very well established the technology. And if you want to stay on the edge, you have to put novelty, new features. And so beta testing, it's also a way to say your customer, hey, I am going ahead. If you are a small ISV, the problem is not this one, but is to build up an awareness about your technology. So honestly speaking, if you try my technology of 2 years ago, or this one, it's okay, way better to me. But if you never see, and you try also the version that it's 2 years old, you can find a lot of benefits, because it depends on how you are aware of the technology. I think so, about beta testing.
Oh, there were a couple. Yeah, please.
I find the discussion about the business model very interesting because we all run the company, and the company's goal, one of the company's goal is to earn money.
That's
How do I see Fortissimo? I see Fortissimo as a kind of a partnership between organizations. There's one goal, which is defined in the mission. So one important thing to do is define the business model for all the participants of this project. If I want to be part of this mode, I want to know what it's in for me. And that's something I hear, it's not being shared very loudly, but that's what I hear from everyone. What's in for me? I'm not going to participate, and you earn all the money, and I don't hear anything about it.
But that was our idea.
So why not treat this as a commercial thing? First talk about the customer. Why should the customer come to us? So we have to add value to it compared to our competitors, Ubercloud or whatever. Second is who joined the party, and then the business model, that's part of it. And I think that commercial aspect should be a very vital part of this initiative.
There's a very clear commercial aspect for the ISVs, but for us, again, as resellers, potential resellers, it's a bit less clear.
Now, also not for the ISVs, because you talked about the help desk. What about the help desk for the application? Is that something that Fortissimo is going to do, or is that, or stays that a part of the ISV? Because in the help desk, that's the main relation, the first relation with your customer. There you can lose or win your customer. If that's going to Fortissimo, then say goodbye to your customer. If you do not take care about that kind of thing, then I don't think this will succeed. That's my...
You coming from an ISV?
No, I'm a system integrator.
System integrator.
Okay, so I can comment this because the idea that I build up about the platform is that you have the technology available, a way to promote the technology, but once the customer comes and decide one solution, you will have a direct contact. So I don't think to Fortissimo as also a technical front end for the application. I think it's not possible at all, because I mean Fortissimo as a marketplace and as a technical way to put all the HPC on the cloud can take care of this. So all about the marketing structure and about the technical stuff of the HPC. But as far as the specific expertise required for each solution, I think it's not feasible that is managed by the Fortissimo platform or the staff of the Fortissimo platform itself. So as an ISV, I see this as a way, as an extra channel to sell, let me say. There are many examples, of course, we can think to the app, to the market app on Android or for Apple. Another example recently is going to be introduced by ANSYS. They have developed the market of the ACT extension. This is an interesting model because they have developed a specific SDK for their platform. A small user can become a small ISV. Everything is in the platform. So the deploy of the new application is simple. You have specific rules. You cannot fail. Everything is straightforward. Now they are preparing standard contract, standard way to raise money. So in this case, I think Fortissimo will be not exactly like this, because if you think to a platform as an app platform in which there are direct transactions and you get your money, it could be a little bit risky. Fortissimo, it's I think more a way to reach customer, to make the technology available to the customer, but the customer is yours. I think so. So the direct contact is mandatory, I think. And we have also, sorry to interrupt, we also to think, because what is popping in my head is how much will be the fee for Fortissimo for future? Because you know, let's say you sell a service, you put in the software with a fee, you put the expertise of your staff, of your partner, there is the expertise of the HPC partner, so each one can claim for a part, but for sure, if we are able to set up these Fortissimos as a good channel for sell and also to host on the cloud the technical solution, of course, we have to think to a fee. And the fee should be, let me say, flat. So we have to envision that if we articulate the service, the cost of the platform should stay the same. So maybe a percentage, I don't know, but we have to maybe that this topic has been already discussed, but I think this is the point. So how much? 5%, 20%, 30%? I don't know.
30% sounds good.
30%. Of course, it depends. As ISV, we know that when you look, for instance, for a partner, standard way, things go that if you want to have a partner, if the partner is able to promote, sell, maintain, and support, of course, you will have a small part of the revenue, because you put just your IP with the software, you keep the software alive, but all the work is up to the partner. So in this case, very good. If I have a lot of partners, I can raise a lot of money. Of course, if I have direct relation with the customer, I have the cost to approach it, the marketing, the investment. I have to go to manage the account in the time, to make the customer happy, to support, and so on, and I will raise right more money. So we have to understand where this Fortissimo channel stays in this scenario. I think that this is the point.
George?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I think. Yeah, well, there was a lot of things said there. I think the first thing is to say is that the real ambition of Fortissimo is to reduce barriers to adoption of simulation modeling on HPC. So in that respect, and in doing so, we're not intending to compete with the ISVs, with the solution providers, with the technology providers, with the experts. We are a mechanism whereby we can reduce barriers, so make it easy for end-user SMEs to adopt the technology. And as Guy said, Fortissimo isn't about the technology, it's a business project. It's about how can we integrate solutions for end SMEs. So in that sense, it's a facilitating channel. It's almost an integrating channel. It's not introducing its own competing products and services against the ISVs, so it's a facilitator. So in that respect, I think that's key. So in everything we say, that's key. Fortissimo is about facilitating. But in doing so, it has to be sustainable. Yeah, it will have costs. And we've analysed those costs with respect to looking at potential business models, and fixed fees, broker fees, commission on sales fees, membership fees, subscription fees are all fees that we've thought about. Not all at once, because that would be quite expensive, but we have looked at business models in those dimensions. But on your point, absolutely. Once being closely involved in a technology SME, there was 3 key points to success of a technology SME. Yeah. The first was having a projected revenue stream. The second was having a projected revenue stream, and the third was having a projected revenue stream. So revenue is important for, I think, everyone in this room.
I think we have to distinguish between Fortissimo the project, Fortissimo to the project,
Yes.
which has a mission
Yeah.
to facilitate and promote, but the operational Fortissimo has to sustain itself, and therefore its mission is revenue stream. And intrinsically also to promote as a mechanism for marketing for the revenue stream. But, so we have to distinguish the project from the next project, and then the operational thread that will run in parallel to the project, which is the sustainability path. And you're absolutely right, we have to discuss business models, and we have to discuss with individual ISVs what's the best model for you, what provision works, what serves to you.
So, Marcos, you said that, okay, it's clear that the relationship between the Fortissimo and the ISP may vary. What is your sweet spot? And is it the same sweet spot for also the other ISV? So where do you want the Fortissimo marketplace end and where LBF Forum starts?
Okay. I think that we can think the first thing that I want to try to comment is about how the technology can be interrelated. Because if you think to Fortissimo as a sales channel and a way to hosting technology, in this case it's clear that on the ISV perspective, you provide the solution, you have a very effective tool to provide the solution. So this could be, let me say, a feasible way. I think so. If we think to a different approach in which we can also envision, because there can be situation in which the service can be provided by more than one ISV or more one than an expert. In this case, the complexity becomes a little bit more. And this is not clear to me. So when a service is offered in the Fortissimo platform, in the envisioned platform, the service will be, once I define that I want to do, let's say, because, you know, there are already potential competition. We saw today, for instance, that 3 out of 3 of the presentation, we got the aerodynamic optimization of an helmet that was, I don't remember, maybe open form.
Yes.
Okay.
On the aerodynamic part.
Another optimization we saw in automotive field that was on the first wave. We did something similar, and also the new project. So in the same market, if you pick the keyword, you will find out many different solutions. Of course, this is true also outside Fortissimo. So if someone is looking for something. So it's not totally clear to me if we are envisaging some network and partnership between the actor involved later. Now we are partnering in the project, and we are getting funds to make things working. But of course, after, when we will go in a production stage, of course, if we have to compete, we have also to consider clearly this point. So if we all expose our products in the same platform, maybe that even a slight difference in the way in which the technology is exposed can be sensitive for us. This is a point I don't know if has been addressed or not, but this could be also a point I think interesting that deserves attention. What do you think about it?
If I can start from what you said and take a hint to go further. First of all, I agree. A basic feature of the platform, of the marketplace, should be transparency. I mean, you asked where do you think is the point between the Fortissimo marketplace and the ISV application? Well, I can't answer right now, but what I think is that it may be different for different ISV. The important thing will be to exactly show to the users where the Fortissimo marketplace finishes and where instead starts the knowledge, the particularity, the highlighting capabilities of the ISV vendors. And this to avoid some lack of transparency is that when several ISVs are in competitions could lead to something difficult to manage. The point is, on the platform there are several potential competition when reasoning in perspective of the final functioning, not during the project. Now we are partners, so but at the end there could be some competitors, and so what I would like to be recognized to my application is to stand up and to highlight to Fortissimo should allow, the Fortissimo marketplace should highlight what my application is there for. I mean, what is the difference between my application and the other one, so that the user can choose without being confused on what is provided by Fortissimo, what is provided by the ISV vendor, what I should pay to Fortissimo, what I should pay for the ISV vendor, and what I get from the two entities. And I think that this is a key point to be discussed.
But as far as I understood, on the customer perspective, when the customer pick the service on Fortissimo, pick the service, so it's not up to the customer to know how much is on the ISV, how much on the HPC. Is she just buying a service? So this is, let's say, one agreement that we have to decide first. But with respect to the external front end, the front end should be unique. Otherwise, it can generate a lot of confusion. So I don't envision a Fortissimo market in which the user pick all the things together, because it can be, I think, risky. So I don't know how. Care about this, otherwise.
So I see that there's a lot of fear around going into a marketplace where everybody is competing with each other. But maybe why? Think about, you're selling tomatoes. You go to a real marketplace. So why do you do that? Because all the customers are there. So of course there is competition. There are other people going there and selling tomatoes, but there are lots of customers waiting. So there's also opportunity. Would you agree?
Sure.
Perhaps it's an opportunity, but perhaps it can. It's not quite the same mass market as going to a supermarket. But the one thing that I see is as beneficial with one platform is that it promotes healthy competition. And the reality is that if our goal is to allow SMEs to access, manufacturing SMEs to access CFD and CAE and simulation at a reasonable price, then we need that competition. We need that competition. Within ICON, we've always tried to lower the cost by going through open source, by taking developments, trying to making them robust, and actually really providing solutions which were completely underpriced compared to the competition. So by kind of animating a platform and encouraging ISVs to compete within that platform, the SMEs will benefit. The SMEs will definitely benefit, and of course, the ISVs need to be prepared to be the best. Yeah. And to be always in front, to always develop new things every year, which work better, faster, etc. I mean, if you pay for a simulation in terms of number of core hours, right? The next guy who develops something that takes 50% less time, 50% less cost potentially. Yeah. So it is healthy, and I think from that point of view we need to embrace it and not be afraid of it. But it does need to be controlled, and it needs to be very transparent.
Okay, sounds like a great final statement. Call to action to your ISVs, actually. I would say. Unfortunately, our time is up. So first of all, I'd like to thank the panel, which is already eroding. He had to leave early because he had to catch his flight. So I'm say sorry for him. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating.